at the moment. All right, so you know what? Tonight we actually got like a special study session show with you. It's not a Talk with the Titan show. It's not a Speaker's Corner show. It's gonna just be a few people just joining in, having a nice discussion about Kemet. We're gonna be talking about Kemet. We're gonna be talking about Christianity, and we're gonna be just delving into those types of cultures and ideologies and theologies there. So today we're actually going to be talking about the pharaonic perspective of the Son of God. So for example, the Christians, our good brothers, the Christians claim that Jesus is the Son of God. I just want to know from a Kemetic perspective, is it possible for Jesus to be the Son of God? And is it possible that the Kemetics have a philosophy of the Trinity, so to speak, the Father, the Holy Spirit, and the Son? So, you know what, Gabs, I know you're with me right now. KIP, the UK's version of polite. I know my people out here be loving you in America, bruv. So you saying, how you doing, King?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good, man.
Powerful.
Yeah.
So you know what? I can see we got our Christian brothers joining us. I love that. So Pentecostal ministry. I see you. Peace to the King. Hopefully, I'll see your Speaker's Corner. What's really good. So I really want to get real interactive with everybody on the in the audience right now, because we're gonna be delving into stuff that I want to be flowing from you guys. I want to get your questions answered on here live, from a Kemetic understanding, even from a Christian understanding as well. So we'd love to have you join us. So if you would like to join us, if you are on Facebook, please just join the Facebook and hit me up, Callum, SPEL, KALAM space SPEL, and then I'll inbox you the actual link. Also, if you've got an email address, type your email address inside of the comment section. If it doesn't pop up or allow you to post it, do it with spaces in between, like .co.uk, etc., your email address, and I'll add you into this chat so you can come in and actually talk live and actually have your say as well. So I'm going to get into this. So I want to know, Gabs, you know what? Is Jesus the Son of God? That's my first question.
Is Jesus the Son of God? I would say, yeah, he could be.
I was expecting you to say, if that nigga even existed. That's usually the Kemetic understanding. Did Jesus even exist? Before we even answer that question, did Jesus even exist?
Okay.
For me personally, I'm gonna state it like this: I have accepted the historicity of Jesus Christ, or Yeshua HaMashiach, or Isa ibn Maryam, whichever way, or Yeshua, whichever way and version of pronouncing and knowing Jesus, even through the Syriac, whether it's through the Ethiopic, whether it's through the Arabic, whether it's through the Hebrew, Jesus, whether through the Greek, etc. I've actually accepted it. I've seen the historical evidence to suggest that there was a person named by the name of Jesus during the turn of the first century that was a revolutionary and so forth. The mythological aspects of Jesus, now, I don't know. I can't confirm that, and I wouldn't even want to confirm that, to be honest with you. I don't know if those things did actually happen. I can't testify and bear witness to seeing a man in my lifetime actually walk on water without it being David Blaine and it being an illusion. So I definitely say, in terms of it as a teacher, as a political religious leader, as a person that historically existed within the stamp of history, I would say he did exist. We've got testimonies from Josephus, we've got testimonies from Tacitus, we've got testimonies from the Romans, the Greeks, etc., and obviously via the Gospels that this man, even the Jews in the Talmud, talk about Jesus being a historical figure. So I don't have no doubts in my personal mind whether he existed and whether he was a teacher. Most times and most academics have a problem with the supernatural aspect of Jesus. So I know my Christians will readily believe and accept it, and I don't have no problem with that. It's whether we can actually prove that or not. That's another story. So is he the Son of God? Is he the Son of God? Well, I'll talk from a Hebrew perspective. From a Hebrew perspective, we know, if we go into Psalms 82, verse 6, it talks about, I said, ye are gods, and all of you are the children, of the Most High, etc., etc. Jesus then refers that in, I believe it's John 8:32, 8:34, 10:32, 10:34 as well. So I don't have no problem with that at all. I don't even have a problem with, from a Hebrew standpoint, even, from, Torahic standpoint, God or Yahweh, even calling other human beings gods. For example, I believe it's in Exodus, Moses was referred to as he was going to be a god unto Pharaoh. So even, you know, from a Hebrew perspective, I have no issue with that. Now we're going into the Egyptian conceptualizations of whether the Egyptians had a concept of a son of God, and whether Jesus could even fit into that term as a son of God. You know, that's something that's going to be really powerful to actually discuss right about now, because I know there is a lot of people, even my Muslim audience, might be saying astaghfirullah, Allah cannot have a son, etc., etc. You know, from your conceptualization, you know, we go into Al-Kindi and stuff like that. This is a Christian Arab apologetic in roughly in the 800s, saying that, you know, the problem is that, you know, Muslims, or the Arabian understanding of son of God, is literally you know, God, you know, knocking boots with a woman, basically. But obviously, from a Christian standpoint, I don't think Christians view things like that. And even from a Kemetic standpoint, I don't think the Kemetics view things like that at all as well. So let's jump into this, actually. I want to jump into this. I don't know. Do you have anything to say, Gabs, before we jump into it?
Not at the moment. I'm gonna jump in anytime when you're flowing.
Okay.
Anytime I've got something to interject, I'll let you know.
Okay, so I'm going to jump into the terminology of son of God. In the ancient Egyptian you know, perspective, it had certain words in the hieroglyphs, or the ancient Egyptian tongue. They would call the son of God Sa-Ra. Sa-Ra. And Sa-Ra literally means the son of God. You could even take on another perspective of being the protector, Sa, protector of God itself. But generally, it's the son of God, or the son of the sun, the son, S-O-N, of the S-U-N, or the son of the creative principle known as the sun, which has a power behind that itself. So that is what Sarah means, and that's the title, son of God. Now this title was actually born roughly in 2600 BC. That's when the terminology came in references to pharaohs. And in that being said, they actually viewed the son of God. You know, we actually have a good speaker in Speaker's Corner, Sarah Garvey, or Sarah. Big up to my brother. Hopefully, everybody who's coming down on Sunday, he's actually going to be there as well. My brother does. I know my American audience is loving the debates with the Muslims and so forth. But I want to get some more people coming in. So if you are a Hebrew, if you're an atheist, I'm welcoming you. Please come down to Speaker's Corner. It's in London, Hyde Park, opposite Marylebone Station. Please drop by, say hello, salute to me as well when you're there, so I know who you are. And let's get involved with some debates, because I really love to see you get involved with the debates as well. Now, so we have Sarah. So, you know, let me read something from this book here. I've got, it's called The Cult of Ra. This is a very good book by Stephen Quirk. Excellent book to actually kind of understand the ancient Egyptian conceptualizations, theology, and even philosophy and culture as well. So it's absolutely brilliant book. I definitely do recommend it. Now it talks about the sun god. Okay, so the sun god, this is Ra, which will be equivalent to the Most High in most religious understanding. So the sun god chooses the woman to bear his next manifestation, takes the form of her husband. Okay, takes the form of her husband, impregnates her, and supervises the birth of the child and its ka, or sustaining energy. Taken literally, this implies that the king is not a human being, but a manifestation of the sun god with the outward form and mortal lifespan of a man. Automatically, all our preconceptions about rulers fail. The European concept of dynasty as a family tree has no meaning if each king is a direct issue of the sun god. Instead, there is a single line of individual manifestations of Ra. There is no royal blood, only the divine solar king and the human woman with whom the sun god has contact. This is why Egyptian texts mention only the formal positions: wife of the king, mother of the king, daughter of the king, son of the king, and the very rare sister of the king. There can be no father of the king, and certainly no brother of the king. This is not a human family, but the fallout from a cosmic intervention of the sun god into the lives of those on earth. So yeah, that's very interesting, because you know what, I know, my brother, like somebody posed the question to you in Speaker's Corner, whether you know, the Egyptian pharaohs were gods. Were the Egyptian pharaohs gods? And you know, your response was, tell us your response.
My response was a no. I said no.
You know, And
I said no. Yeah.
you know, and my response in return to that was, you know, an oxymoron in itself. I said yes, but no, no,
Yeah.
but yes. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and through that, you know, we can see the reasons why I'm saying yes and no, but yes, is because of the fact that let me see, can you break that down? Why would you think I said yes and no, but yes, based upon what we've just
Um,
read?
Based on what you just read, I can see why you said yes, because um, if you're dealing with um, a representation of God and on the physical plane for the people, the Pharaoh will be seen as that head of state, or that representation of God, that what's the word, through truth, you know, and teaching them, and he's seen as that main vocal point. You see what I'm saying? The same way, like in those ancient times, the kings were seen. You had the kings that were seen as basically God. You see what I'm saying? They've been
Hmm.
appointed by this the high being to rule the land. You see what I'm saying? So
That's right.
on that aspect, I can see it. But where I got confused, to be fair, when the person asked me the question, I thought they literally meant God as in the being God,
Hmm.
as in they thought that the Pharaoh was actually a god. Like people were bowing down and worshiping him as the actual powerful God that controls everything, that created everything.
That's
Do you see
that's
what I'm
right.
saying?
That's right. That's right. And I think most
Yeah,
people are confused with that. I won't
100%.
lie
Yeah,
to you. I won't even lie to you and tell you that, you know,
yeah,
the humans didn't bow down to Pharaoh. Yes, they did. But it was
yeah.
actually an act of submission to say that they wanted peace.
Submission.
They were suing for peace. They recognized the authority of this person, and they must humble before the representation of God, basically on earth. You know,
Yeah.
what's very interesting, again, you know, from a Christian perspective, I want to know whether my Hebrew Israelites that affirm the New Testament, whether they see this in the same light, basically in terms of how God impregnates um, you know, Mary, or impregnates and becomes the son of God on earth, basically. So we have two conceptualizations from an Egyptian perspective that I know you should have there from Nile Valley civilization, when it talks about Jesus Christ and it talks about Heru. Or there is two, you know, two two individuals that share similar characteristics. So as we've read already, you know, the God, or the creator, or Ra, the sun god, or the most high, the creative principle, takes on the form of a woman's husband, impregnates her, okay, and supervise the birth of the child and its car, or sustaining energy. Then literally, taken literally, this implies that the king is not a human being but a manifestation of the son God, with the outward form and mortal lifespan of a man. So we're saying here that, you know, God takes on the form of the man himself, and actually you know, does the intercourse, impregnates the woman, and it's not actually the husband who is the father of this child, maybe on a physical level, but on a spiritual level, it's actually the you know, the Ra, the sun god himself, who actually incarnates and moves and acts as the father, and then gives birth via manifestation, by emanation, into the child, and the child now grows up to be the sun god, or to become the younger sun god, should I really say. So that's really interesting. But we have a second conceptualization where you know, where the Quran kind of takes on the same form, and agrees with the spirit was being breathed into Miriam, for example. That's from the you know, the
Yeah.
Christian understanding, I mean Muslim understanding. The spirit was breathed into the woman. And we also have from the Kemetic understanding of Heru's birth. Can you give us the similitude of that?
So with Heru's birth, if people know the story, Heru's father Asar um, had been killed by his brother Set and torn into, I believe, it's 13 or 14 pieces. And all the pieces of Asar had been scattered around the whole of Egypt. Aset, his wife, collected all the pieces except for, you know, one piece which was supposedly swallowed by a fish or something in the Nile, which was the phallus. And Aset did her ritual of bringing the pieces on the body together. In some of the texts that we have, she transfigured into I believe it was a bird,
Correct.
or a dove. Yep. And she performed a ritual of flapping her wings, in which no, before that she was it a golden phallus that she made in representation of his phallus that was missing, and then she performed the ritual of flapping the wings, in which that point Asar had got her pregnant. Hence, Horus was now born. So that's kind of how that story goes. But one thing I was gonna say, just to go back on what you was talking about to do with the worship and the worshiping of the gods, you know, the Pharaoh. I was gonna say we do have to think about people in their culture saw the things, because remember, like for me, me coming from a Nigerian background, I know that it's custom to, whenever you see an elder, you dide. Dide means you bow down, you lay down flat. You see what I'm saying? You bow to one of the elders, whether it be your granddad, auntie, or uncle. You see what I'm saying? In sign of respect. So, I could see in African culture that same practice could have been happening in that same time, but whereas people have come over now and now have attributed to some form of worship, whereas there are still some African people who are still practicing it today, and they don't say, well, you're worshiping your granddad, or you're worshiping your uncle, you're worshiping your auntie. It's just a sign of respect that you bow down to show some respect. See what I'm saying?
That's right. You revere them, you honor them. That's right.
You honor them. See what I'm saying? So that's
right. That's right. We need to start growing our children up to being able to humble themselves and bow down to us. Like, if you really want to have control of your children, you need to make sure that they are technically worshiping you. And I'm using the word worship in the most loosest of terms. The word worship can also have the terminology of being love. You need to make sure that your children love you. So you should actually teach them these principles of literally bowing down to you, to show you that honor, to show you that you don't speak unless you've been given the permission to speak. You know, you don't act unless you've been given the permission to act. You don't even smile unless you've been given the permission to smile. What are you laughing for? Ain't nothing here funny. You know, them old school them old school was there, you know. You have to be quiet like a mouse. They ain't no messing around, bro. When big people are talking, you keep your mouth pim.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
We digressing. Now I want to get back into this, because you know what? If you've got the Nile Valley contribution, you know, this is a must. Okay, I know a lot of people wanting to know more about ancient Egyptian, you know, thought, its culture, its history, its philosophy, and so forth. You know, this is like a primary text, a very primary text for you to get by Tony Browder. So this is it here, the Nile Valley contribution to civilization by Anthony Browder. Tony Browder. There's the introduction done by John Herrick Clark. I always say to everybody, you know, always vet the information in the books. Don't take them as gospel. There is a lot of historical facts in here. There is a lot of sources where people are getting the information from, but at the same rate, please always vet your books itself. So yeah, in here it actually talks on page 95. So that's page 95. It actually talks about the Immaculate Conception here from an Egyptian standpoint, and it says here the Necha Khnef, who represents the Holy Ghost, and the Necha Heteru or Hatar are shown symbolically impregnating Aset by holding unks to the nostrils of the Virgin Mother to be. Okay, that is really key right there. So can you see, I don't know if you lot can have the capacity to see what I'm showing you right now. I'm actually going to just check. I don't know, Gabs, if you've got this, can you see right here? This is the middle where my finger is. That is Aset. You know, and there's Hathor and there's Khnef or Khnum, some may say, but Khnef is got here.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah,
Is it a
perfect.
bit clearer?
Yeah, your one is much more clearer. So I'm going to hold it up there so you can see number one, where it says number two, actually, you can see that there is two individuals, a man and a woman, one with a ram's head and the other one with a woman with it's a sun disk and a cow's horns, basically holding up ankhs. Ankhs are, it's like a key to eternal life. And they're actually holding her hands and literally giving her the breath of life. Ankh is actually a term that's used in the ancient Egyptian vocab to literally mean life, but it also has a connotation to do with air or breathing itself. So we can kind of see where, from Islamic perspective, this transmission of giving birth done through the miraculous way was done through breathing into the woman's nostril. Right here, from the Kemetic standpoint, is actually done by holding up the ankh, the eternal life, to a woman's nostril to be breathed in. So that's very interesting to see the comparisons and the similarities. Obviously, they're two conceptualizations that are different from each other. Let's not get it twisted. There isn't no stark differences in the Kemetic standpoint and views, but there is some, apparent similarities. Now, what's interesting is, as I said, there's two different views. One is giving life via the nostrils, and there's another one that's giving life via the actual man being the force to actually impregnate the woman. Now, if we read through the Bible, Matthew and Luke, we see that there is the man's how can I say, genealogy that's been represented. So I want to know, do the Hebrew Israelites, especially, I'm not talking about Christians right now, do the Hebrew Israelites perceive that Joseph was actually the father of Jesus himself? Did the Jews perceive that as well? Was there a physical human father of Jesus, or was it a miraculous one where something was breathed in? Or are these stories all symbolic? I want to let me know, please, in the comment section. Let me know, is this all symbolic, or is this to be taken literally? Me personally, I am very logical in my thought pattern. I don't believe in no miraculous conceptualization. Stuck for Allah, and even for my Kemetic followers, they might be like, that's not right. But I don't agree with that. In order, to be honest with you, if my daughter came home and said to me, the angel Jerome came to me and told me that I would be pregnant, and then I was pregnant, and then I'll be fighting, bruv. Like, you can't be powering me off with no silly stories like that. I know how a man and a woman needs to come together to have sex, to actually have a child. I'll be real with you, bruv. I'll be brocking up my daughter with any nonsense story like that. To be honest with you, even Joseph, from the biblical standpoint, Gabriel was all hiding, bruv. He said, "Fam, I'm not even meeting Joseph in the flesh, bruv. The way I meet Mary in the flesh, and I told her, boom, I'm going to give you a child." Boy, you weren't trying to meet up with Joseph like that. You had to meet him in a dream, because Joseph would whoop his ass, bruv. From my perspective, I digress. That's just me, the way I look at life. Don't blame me for it. So for real, how do you view things? Can there be such a thing called a miraculous conception from your perspective? Man like Gabs, I want to know from your perspective, is that possible?
To be a miraculous conception?
Yeah. So from a Kemetic, hold on. From a Kemetic point of view, there was this phallus, this golden phallus, and there was a flapping of wings, and there was a lying on it, and then boom, you're pregnant. And then there's also the ankhs to the nostrils, and boom, you're pregnant. Do you believe such a miraculous way can take place, or is it something that signifies a symbol?
Me personally, I don't think something like that could take place. I think it's more a more symbol to that they were trying to achieve, because the story of Heru being born, his mother Aset still had to make a phallus. You see what I'm saying? She couldn't continue the ritual and what she was going to do without still making that phallus. You see what I'm saying?
So you say
she still needed that. She still needed that physical, that manhood. She still needed that physical manhood to be there, because she could have just done the ritual without it.
So you say, my brother, let me get this straight. Yeah. Okay. Aset, Isis, was the first person in history, the first woman in history, or the first famous woman in history, to make most probably the world's first dildo that had the ability to store semen. Okay. And to be, it was an IVF treatment. What's it called? Virtual insemination, basically. So they must have been, she must have been yamming it up in there and press one button, and then sperm just, what do the Muslims call it again? The self-emitting fluid, the gushing forth, just came out. Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're saying to me right now?
No, not really. I'm saying, me personally, I think the phallus was actually connected, because remember, the same way she collected the rest of the pieces and put it together. So remember, she couldn't find the one piece that she needed. So she made that, and I think that what she would have done is still connected that to the body somehow. So it wouldn't have been like as if it was just any wooden stick or something she just put there, because she could have just done that. If that was the case, she could have just put anything there. She wouldn't need to put it on top of him. You see what I'm saying? She wouldn't need to have come on top of his body still. She could have just been in a corner if she was just going to make a phallus out of gold and just done it to herself over his body. So in my mind, I'm seeing it as she made it and connected the body to it. So it was still as if she was mating with her husband. Do you see what I'm saying?
I hear you. Again, for me, I'm saying this is all symbolic. For me personally, I don't know. But what I want to do real quickly is thank everybody who's tuning in right now, and I would love for everybody to please give us a big thumbs up. Let us know that you're liking the information. Let us know that you're liking. We're doing this for you. To be honest with you, certain men are out there right now, going to raves and stuff like that. We're here. We're kicking knowledge with you. We're kicking knowledge. So if you're loving the information, please give us a big thumbs up. Let us know you're loving the information, you're liking the information, and you're supporting Titans TV as well. We've actually got one person who's joined us right now, my brother Jay. He's joined us from watching this, said, boy, I want the link. He said, Callum said, you know what, just email me your email address. Go to Facebook, email me your address, whatever the case is, I'll send you the link. He's done it, so he's here with us. Whenever he's ready to chime in, I'm gonna, invite him to chime in at any point he wants to. Also, please, if you have the capacity, I'm talking about in terms of resources, financial resources, please hit the super chat button. Hit the super chat button. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. For those who don't know about the super chat button going on, it's right here, the super chat button right here. And if you can, just send a super chat, donate to us if you appreciate what we're doing here on Titans TV, giving you this good information, giving allowing you the opportunity to actually have your voice as well. Not many channels and platforms actually allow you the opportunity to actually interact, sit down, listen to how we study, and give you the opportunity to come on and actually have your say and share your opinions and critique other people's opinions as well. So if you have the capacity, resources, financially, please donate to us, because you know what I'm hearing right now, YouTube is clamping down. It's not even YouTube, it's not their fault, it's the advertisers are clamping down on shows like this, controversial shows that will bring up topics that nobody else is talking about. Nobody wants to talk about religion, nobody wants to talk about politics, nobody wants to talk about race, and all these great things here that are controversial, that things that are kept hush hush. We're talking about this. I don't mind how controversial it is. Personally, I hear stuff that I'm offended by, but I don't care. I like for our audience to hear this information and hear what other people are actually thinking in the world. And do you even, does it shake your belief system, your comfort zone? And if it does, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to research the information? Are you going to challenge the information? We're here, a lot of people are talking about, oh, we don't like what's been said, rare. I'm like, you have the opportunity to challenge. This is the amazing thing about it. I personally, as a host, I'm not here to challenge our guests, so to speak. I'm here to actually allow them the freedom to speak, give them the voice to actually speak, and afford them the opportunity to be promoted so other people can hear their voices as well. And actually, I'm here for you as the audience to not just only passively listen, but to actively participate and actually ask questions, to actually challenge people when you think that they're talking BS, when you're like, what's that? What's that smell? I smell BS. Like, that's like, you need to come onto the show and literally let us know that you're smelling BS. I don't even just want to hear it in the comment section. I love reading the comments. I love hearing what you guys got to say. But if you really want to have your say, please just like hit me up on Facebook, Callum, SPEL. That's all you got to do. Hit me up on Facebook, ask for the link, and I will bring you in straight away. No qualms at all. Lamb of God, peace to you. He says Callum has too much knowledge to just be a host. I hear you. That's I gotta stay humble. Though. I gotta stay humble. So we've just touched on the Son of God. We've touched on the impregnation. And things like that. And from the Egyptian perspective, nobody could be the father of the Pharaoh, that nobody could be the brother of the Pharaoh, because these are contradictory terms, because the father of the Pharaoh was viewed as not just his biological father, was viewed as the actual, Ra, the sun god itself, manifesting inside of the child. When it grows up, he's being groomed to become a Pharaoh, and he already is a Pharaoh. He's just waiting for his appointed time to take place to actually rule. Some people ask me, isn't this all about the royal bloodline and so forth? And I said, no, because we can read here. Let me just go into this again. I'm going to start reading. It says here, basically, it says here that each new king appeared like the sun at dawn, revealing himself in the rising, but already a kingly being before that revelation to humankind. The politics are as hidden as in any religious theory of succession. Even the Hellenistic history of Egypt by the priest Manetho groups the kings of Egypt into dynasties, first by their place of rule and burial, and therefore by god or goddess protecting that place, and only occasionally and secondarily by family. For example, the 18th dynasty appears to comprise kings from four. Okay, this is the 18th dynasty. There is kings from four unrelated families. The first from the family line of the late 17th dynasty, King Ta. The second from that of Thutmose is the first, a family of unknown relation to the first, while the two kings at the end of the 18th dynasty, Ai and Horemheb, were from possibly two more separate families. Modern historians spend much time speculating on kinship ties between these strands of the 18th dynasty, but the Egyptian sources remain silent. The kings in Egypt is the sun, and this eclipses all politics. So this is very interesting. But I actually want to talk on let's talk about the Father God and the Son God. When I'm talking about the Son God, I'm talking about the SON God. Okay. So from the Egyptian perspective, again, there is two terms that's been labeled to God, or Ra, the Most High, the creator principle, and the Pharaoh, who was also the son of Ra, so the lesser. Now, there's two terms. The Pharaoh was called basically Nefer-Netcher, meaning the young god, or even the good god, and then the Ra himself was called the Netcher-Ah, or the great god. Okay, and this was in relationship to the father-son relationship. Let me actually read here. It says here, Oleg Berlev has noted the nuance in two innocent seeming phrases often used in the ancient text to describe the ruler and his heavenly counterpart. Words good and great imply when paired younger and older. This establishes the key relationship in creation between the sun god as the elder partner in the sky and his issue on earth, the junior partner. Exactly such a pairing may have facilitated the practice of appointing a co-regent where the senior and junior kings would have echoed the relation of celestial to earthly sovereign. Go ahead. I see somebody just wanted to say something. Say something. Is that Josh? You there? Okay. So from an Egyptian standpoint, again, as we're saying, there was the pairing of the greater God, which is the God in heaven, our Father who art in heaven, basically. And then you have the God here on earth, which would be the Pharaoh. I don't know if you wanted to touch on something about that, Gabs.
So yeah, we say touch on what the Pharaoh and
The Pharaoh being the Nefernetia, being the younger god and the good god on earth, while as the Most High being the greater God in heaven, basically.
okay. What was you saying? Did I want to touch up on it? Whether
You
if
wanted
that's
to,
true or
yeah, wherever you wanted to have any input on that.
nah, I don't have no not in a moment. I don't have no input. I was just
Pre-
looking at something at the moment that I was going to share.
Pretty much straightforward. So in that sense, I'm saying the
Yeah.
relationship between, let's look at the relationship between Jesus, for example, being the God on earth, and then you also have the God in heaven, which is his father. So we can see that there is, from an Egyptian standpoint or Kemetic standpoint, we can see that the story of Jesus actually parallels a pharaonic, the pharaonic ideal, basically, the Pharaoh being the representation of God on earth, the terrestrial God, the terrestrial sun, where everybody rotates around the Pharaoh on earth as the sun on earth. Everybody rotated or was supposed to rotate around Jesus being the sun and the son on earth as well. We all know that Jesus had 12 disciples, which is analogous of the sun having 12 constellations that circle it, which is the 12 different houses. For example, there is Pisces, Leo, Capricorn, Cancer, etc., etc. But he also had 12 disciples. So we can see how these concepts are intertwined amongst each other, and how from an African / Egyptian or Kemetic thought pattern, where they weren't only they were actually trying to emulate the celestial globe on the terrestrial plane. What I mean by that is we have, for example, the pyramids that line up, okay, terrestrially with the celestial. We have them lining up perfectly with Orion's belt. Okay, we have the Giza plateau lining up exactly with the celestial of the Orion star constellation. We see that Leo, or the Harakti, lined up with the Leo constellation in the night sky as well. So the Pharaoh was here on earth to represent the sun, emitting his light, emitting his provisions to the whole of his domain itself, emitting all the good stuff to his domain, bringing law, bringing order, just as the sun brings law and order, bringing knowledge, just as when the sun wakes up in the morning, you're able to see, you're able to have knowledge to perceive things and so forth. So was the Pharaoh supposedly to do the same thing. So one has to actually ask, from a Kemetic standpoint, I know this is, again, I'm going to have to say stock for all, I'm using Arabic terminology here. From a Kemetic standpoint, do we even have an issue with the Christian concept of Jesus being the Son of God, and then there being the Father, and then there being a Holy Spirit? Should we even take offense to that? For my Kemetic brothers, that's my question I'm asking you out there. Like, what is the big problem? Is there a problem with the story, or is it because we, from the Kemetic standpoint, want to be far removed from anything biblical based upon the things that took place in history with slavery, with oppression, and all these other colonization, that the tactics was used and was enforced via the Bible? Is that the reason why we're staying away from it, or can we see that it's similar to a Kemetic standpoint? See, I'm opening up, man. I'm opening up. I don't see nobody talking to me, man. I'm listening to the comment section. Talk back to me. Talk back to me. Okay. Talk to me, my people. Yeah, esoteric wisdom. Yeah, we're dropping that science roundabout now. So Gabs, whenever you're ready to chime in, let me know. What you say.
Also, I was just gonna add in on what you were saying about the similarities from the book here. Also, when you was reading. This is another stage that they have in the story of Aset and Heru. You have Aset is shown sitting on a birthing stool, and the newborn child is attended by the midwives. And then you have number 4, the adoration. The newborn Heru is portrayed receiving gifts or magi while being adored by the host of gods and men. Now, you can see, obviously, in the Christian doctrine, a similar type of pattern which happened with Jesus, where he was born, he was visited by the 3 wise men, Some might even say in the Christian text they were the Magi. I might have heard that these three wise men were actually Magi kings that came to visit Jesus. And you can see there's a similarity here between Jesus and Horus. Also, as well, I was gonna ask the Christians. This is one question I always wanted to ask the Christian is, or if they know any reason why the angel of the Lord, Gabriel, told Joseph to take the newborn child Jesus to the land of Egypt and stay there, and what happened during that time period. That's one question that I've always wanted to ask and see what answers they give to that.
Yo, Christian, the question is out there. Why did the angel of the Lord, Gabriel, send or tell that Jesus, the newborn baby, should be, be taken to Egypt to be reared, to be groomed before he comes back? Is this to fulfill prophecy? I know my brothers might be saying this is to fulfill prophecy. It's to fulfill prophecy because he says that my son will come out of Egypt. But why? Why did the son need to come out of Egypt? Why indeed? So we're asking that question. So please type away in the comment section if you know why. If you've got a speculation, you've got a hypothesis, let us know why. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, just to let people know, if you can see that, if people didn't know about that, you can look in the book of Matthew. I think it's Matthew 2 and 13. Matthew 2, 13, where I have it right here. It says, "Get up," he said, "take the child and his mother, stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child." So it's Matthew, I think that's one of the chapters that you have it, Matthew 2:13, where you can find out the angel telling Mary and Joseph to take Jesus and flee. And stay there until you hear news of Herod's death.
Wow.
So we don't know. Yeah.
That's powerful.
We don't. Yeah.
I was going to say that's powerful right there, because you know what? Out of anywhere to actually take the child, to flee, to hide, to go to the Isle of Paphos, to go to Samaria, to go to Arabia, to go to, wherever else they could travel to Greece, even, wherever else you can travel to. Why was the child told to go to Egypt to take refuge before Herod? That's a very good question. I even want to know as well, like from, I always like to be inclusive and make sure everybody gets to join in, because most of our audience members are either out of the 5 groups. They're either Christians, they're either Jews, they're either Muslims, they're either Comedics, and they're either atheists, and technically Hebrew. So Hebrew can fit in either Jew or Christian, depending on your point of view. I'm not going to say that you're Jew or Christian. I'm just saying that you're Hebrew that can either be New Testament or Old Testament. That's all I'm saying, okay? So don't jump on me with the whole Christian talk. I know the rhetoric already. All right. So why is that? But also, even the Muslims themselves, they were even told to go out and hide out into God's land, the chosen land, the land of the Najash, the Negus, Ethiopia. Why were they all told to go into these lands where to seek refuge? It's quite interesting. I have my own hypothesis, because we all know I have my own hypothesis. For example, we have certain orders that are actually established by certain people. For example, there is one order that trumps every single priesthood and other orders inside of the Bible only. That's what I'm talking about, which is, you have the Levite order, but you also have who can know what order trumps? Let me know what order trumps the Levite order. Who knows that question? Anybody? Let me see. I'm putting out there for our audience to know. Let's see. Do you know the order? Or should I just say, do you know the order? Anybody on the panel? What is the one order that trumps all those orders?
I have no idea.
From a biblical perspective. Okay. Well, that order is the order of Melchizedek. Okay. That's the one order that trumps every single order. We can go into Genesis, I believe it's 15, 18, around that region. We find that, the patriarch of the 3 monotheistic religions, somebody just, my brothers are just writing in there. Let me see you. We know, certain people like Abraham. or Ibrahim had to bow down, okay, and give tithes to this individual, you know. And you know, this individual, as my brothers on here, crazy Carry 2K5 says it. We have Hassan, my brother Sheikh Hassan, basically, should I say, says it as well. And we all know, man, you know, even Hebrews talks about it as well. And that's the order of Melchizedek. That's the one order that trumps every single order. Abraham had to give tithes and offerings to that order itself, showing you that, you know, this person, Melchizedek, was the priest of the Most High. We also have, you know, in Hebrews, Jesus was in and after the order of Melchizedek itself as well. And we know when we go back into the earlier texts, such as, you know, written in the 6th century, John Malalas, you know, he talks about where the heritage of this person comes from. We also go back into the books of the bees and the books of the crowning and all these other books that are from the Ethiopic perspective, or the Ethiopic Syriac books from the Christians and the Jews. They tell you that Melchizedek was an Egyptian, and actually his father was actually from Libya itself, but he, you know, was part of that, and they set up an order, and all the kings had to show acknowledgement to this person called Melchizedek, and he had a sacred order that people had to come and be initiated in and under to actually learn stuff. So I wonder, was this order of Melchizedek that everybody had to go to, you know, including most of the patriarchs had to go to actually learn this sacred information to come back and teach their people? You know, obviously Moses had a teacher. Obviously Ibrahim had a teacher. Obviously, what's his name? Muhammad had a teacher. But were they initiates of the sacred order of Melchizedek, the priesthood of the Most High? I wonder. I don't know. That is a theory that we're going to place out there. I want to see, has anybody else has any information on that? Okay, has anybody else got some information on that? I like to drop some controversy into the chat room right now. Let me see what people are saying. Okay, what is missed is that Egypt is from the house of the patriarchs, but the Jews' hatred for Egypt cloud this. Wow. That's from Sheikh Hassan. Shimam says, make you pay dues to get ancient wisdom. Some of the stuff they ask is wild, but worth it. Okay. All right. Okay, so somebody here is a highlight Titans TV. Let's see what he's saying here. What will it take for you to believe Jesus is the way? I am also Ethiopian. Okay, what would it take? What would it take for you to believe that Jesus is the way? That's a question I'm going to put out there. What would it take? Gabs, anybody?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
What would it take for me to believe that Jesus is the way? What would it take for me to believe Jesus is the way?
Josh, are you there as well? I see your mic is going in and out, but I'm not hearing you say nothing. Yeah, that's a difficult question. All right. Question. All right. Let me
tough question there, you know.
I will start off then. I will start it off. So let me start it off. For Nias baby. What would it take? Personally, I do believe. I believe. I use that word very loosely because I don't really, but I use the word very loosely. I do actually believe that Jesus is definitely a way and can be the way for certain people. I think that Jesus in the Bible shows a very exemplary role, exemplary character, has exemplary teachings and wisdom, and could be a very good role model, extremely great role model for people who actually choose to accept it. I would say I've grown a lot in wisdom and spirituality by reading the text written in the Bible pertaining or being said to be attributed to coming out the mouth of Jesus. There is some very beautiful teachings in there. So I don't have no problem with that. I definitely do say he is a way, and he's the way to those people who accept him and want him to be their role model. So that's my answer to that. Do I accept him as my way? That's a very good question. That's a very good question that hasn't been yet proposed. So I'm going to ask you, Gabs, what would it take for you to believe that Jesus is the way?
First, I think the first thing I'd even ask is, what is the way that they're talking about? In what way is Jesus to be the way? Way in what? the way to for me to live my life, or to understanding the creator? What, you see what I'm saying?
For
Because
for real.
I just saw someone just wrote something in the comments saying, um, if Egypt didn't exist, Jesus would seem like Jesus would be real, basically. But because now I've seen texts, I've seen ancient texts and practices talking about the same way that Jesus would have followed, the same type of teachings. You see what I'm saying? How to live, and how to respect and honor your ancestors and all that stuff.
You
And
know, sorry, real quickly to interrupt you, real quickly. I
yeah,
apologize. He,
yeah,
you know, our brother says that the way to salvation. Again, these are some buzzwords and keywords that are relevant within inside of certain circles. So, you know, he's saying, you know, the way to salvation.
the way to salvation.
And
Um,
again, I'm going to just filibuster real quickly whilst you get that one in. Again, please, if you're loving the information, please give us a big thumbs up. Let us know that you're liking the information. Support us, and we'll support you. So if you give us your thumbs up and even share the link so other people could tune in and chime in with us, that would be a great help. If you can't, you know, fund us monetarily, fund us via your viewership and your support. Give us likes so other people can see what you're liking, and you know, hopefully tune into this and share this. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, Google, wherever you are at, please just share the link with your friends. Let them know that we're talking here some real stuff where you can actually come in if you want to have your say. I'm actually going to leave because some people don't want to go onto Facebook and actually add me as a friend. I don't know why you don't want to add me as a friend. You should be adding me as a friend. I'm joking. But yeah, if you don't want to inbox me, I can actually put the link down below so you can actually join in with us and actually have your say, because I definitely want to have varied opinions and varied views. I don't want to dominate. I'm not trying to dominate nothing. My voice is getting hoarse as it is, so I definitely want to hear different views come in. So please share it with your friends and followers so they can see what's going on. Go on, Gabs, go on, continue.
yeah. So the brother was saying, a way to salvation. So yeah, basically with that answer, with that question again, I would say based on the teachings and the stuff that I've seen prior to how people live their life and honor their ancestors, and I don't know, they knew about loving and caring for things, and respecting nature and being in balance with nature. I think if Jesus or God was a loving God, even if they saw even if they saw that I was living my life in that type of way, where I was in, I loved the nature, I showed honor and respect to my brothers and sisters. I think just on that alone, that should merit me salvation, because that's like to the tribes, or to the people that are living in the forest, or to the tribes that are living in the mountains that have never come into contact with the Christian Bible, but are living in harmony or in balance. I know there must be some sort of judgment where God would take into account how they live their life, and their actions on earth. I don't know, to grant them a way to heaven, or wherever, hell or wherever. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't. So I just see it as more, if it's more down to the person, and how you what's the word? How you view life and how you view others. Do you see what I'm saying? In the right way.
I hear you. I hear you. All right. I just realized I've actually got the camera on where people can actually see the back. Let me make this look a little bit more professional. Come on, Callum L. What's going on with you, son? All right. Hopefully that should have changed up on the YouTube section where you can only see one person rather than the down belows. Now, okay, yeah, again, I've actually put the link in. Hopefully you should be able to see it. Let me do sharing my screen. Let me share my screen real quickly. So for those people who actually want to jump in and actually chime in and have their say, please do. I love to actually have you guys on having your say. If my thing is sharing right now, it says here, panel link. Literally, just click here. If you've got Google Hangouts already, it will come up straight away, and you'll be added into the talk, into the chat. So that's what you need to do to be added in. Just hit the panel link. Now, you know, most people. Okay. So, okay, my Ethiopian Christian brother says, thanks for answering. If Jesus came to the world today and preached the Bible was real, would you believe and follow? Okay, anyway, I'm going to jump on because we're going to hit on other things. You know, most people ask me, you know, like, why am I not following their religion? Or why am I not, you know, this and that and that? I'm like, fam, like, to be honest with you, I love your religion. I've got love and respect and for every person's religions and belief systems, and anything that actually helps you to benefit your own life and to take you where you need to go, whether it's this life or to the next life, I'm all in support for it. Personally, I live in the laws of abundance. Okay, I live in the laws of abundance. Most religious people, whether you're a Muslim, the only book you read is the Quran. If you're a Christian, the only book you read is the Bible. For me personally, like, I've got libraries. I say libraries. I got bookshelf upon bookshelf upon chests filled with books. I love reading. I cannot limit myself to one book. That's a difficulty for me. Like, that's limiting myself to one pair of trainers my whole life, or one suit my whole life, or one. Anyways, I'm not even gonna go there because I'll get into trouble by anybody who's viewing this. So I can't limit myself like that. There's too much knowledge out there just to limit yourself to one book. You know, you can follow that way of life, but I'm telling people, please pursue knowledge outside of your own field of belief or your own field of expertise. We're in a new era, we're in a new age where information is actually ruling right now. And if you want to actually survive, information is key. That's me. So please don't nobody try to convert me. I'm already me. I'm good where I am. You know, and I'm not even trying to convert you. All I'm trying to do to you is share information with you, give you a voice to speak, and give you an opportunity to analyze people's thoughts, to critique them, and even to adopt those thought patterns into your own life and test it, try it out, whether it actually works for you. If something does not work for you, if you've been doing this thing over and over and over and over and over again, and you're not getting the results that you're expecting, or you haven't got any results, you haven't got an idea of a result that you're expecting, that literally is the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result and not getting it. So me personally, there's too much knowledge out there to be bound by one particular book or ideology. Personally, I'm not knocking you for doing what you're doing. I would tell you in a heartbeat, be a Christian. In a heartbeat, be a Muslim. In a heartbeat, be a Hebrew. Whatever makes you happy, whatever brings you to the next level in your life, do that. Trust me on that. Do that. Because, you know, I'm not your judge. Your brethren's not your judge. Your mom's not your judge. You and your creator are your judges. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go into this. Okay. Good shite. Calamel, Titans TV. The Son God, give thanks. Peace. Somebody's telling us to go to Matthews 24:5. I hate reading Igbo child. Igbo Kwenu, my brother. Isn't Adam our ancestor? Okay, that might be something that we can touch on. So did Islam just notice this now? Yeah, man. If you're just noticing this now, tune in, man. Tune in. Yeah, Muhammad split the moon in half. Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I guess there are other people within history who've seen that Muhammad did split the moon. Who's just joined us now? My Hebrew brothers, just join us, please. You've got some background noise going on. You can. I'm going to mute out your mic until you sort out the background noise, and then you can actually chime in. I'm wondering why it's not muting you. Background or nothing, but the background noise is kind of a killer. Try to bring it down. Let me just bring this down. All right. So you know what? The whole purpose of this was talking about the Son God. Is Jesus the Son of God? Is Jesus God? You know, how does it relate to in terms of the ancient Egyptian Kemetic philosophy, the Pharaoh itself, and so forth? There's one thing I actually haven't done, and I haven't read from an Egyptian text stating what the Pharaoh, the purpose of the Pharaoh is. And let's see, can it actually coincide with a Jesus type character? Let's see. So I'm reading from, this is coming, the actual source is coming from, where is it? Should be Seshastu. I can't find it right now, but I will give it to you later, the exact place where it's coming from. So it says here, okay, Jan Assmann brought this text to the attention of Egyptologists under the new name of the king as priest of the sun. Its succinct statements provide a profile of rule, far from our own image of either our own times or distant past. This climatic passage explains why the creator installed a ruler for men. So why did the creator install the pharaoh as a ruler? So let's get into this. What does it say here? It says here, Ra has placed. Okay, so Ra would be equivalent to the Most High, would be equivalent to your Allah, your Yahweh, for example. It would be equivalent. Has placed the king on the earth of the living forever and eternity, in order to judge humankind, to satisfy the gods, to make right happen, and to annihilate wrong, such that he gives divine offerings to the gods, funerary offerings to the blessed dead. The name of the king is in the sky like that of Ra. He lives in joy like Ra Harakti. Noble rejoice when they see him. The populace gives him praise in his role of the child. Okay, so from an ancient Egyptian Kemetic perspective, this is the purpose why a pharaoh was installed on earth. To literally bring justice into the lands, to give offerings in terms of resources to both the gods and both to the blessed dead. Now, I know that sounds a bit, what's going on there? What do you mean by the gods? Well, what that actually means, because most people are confused what happens to offerings or sacrifices in the ancient Egyptian, way of doing things. The human beings incarnated as gods, so to speak, and they would receive the offerings themselves. Only human beings can consume actual food offerings. There isn't no supernatural, invisible being that's actually physically diminishing food from its plate. That doesn't happen in ancient Egyptian thought. What takes place is the spiritual side of the food, or the essence of something, can be offered to those divine beings, and then the physical foods are now given to the priest, to the community to consume. So it's the pharaoh taking from his very own wealth and giving it to the priests, or giving it in offerings to the gods, which will be reflected as the priest and the community that surrounds the temple, because the people were the divine. The people were divine themselves, and they embodied the actual divine. So for example, if somebody is a priest in the arts of actual sexuality, for example, men infertility, that is a principle of to be virile, to be fertile. And there will be doctors or scientists or priests or educated individuals that will know the science and the art of sex, for example, and what you would need to do to get pregnant, how you should, regulate your menstrual cycle, what foods you should be eating. If you're going to be, are you pregnant? Pee on this to see if you're actually pregnant or not, and so forth. And, the pharaoh would give offerings from his own wealth to make sure that those organizations or temples or scientists and the community can actually survive. The human beings, the people, the common layman will actually give offerings to the gods to give thanks to them, the principles that has taught mankind these great sciences, that is actually actuated by the priests themselves. And obviously the priests themselves were made up by the actual populace. The laymen themselves would have 1 month to act in the role as a priest and then go back into the community. And then somebody else will take on that role as a priest and come back into the community, and so forth. So everybody within inside of the community will benefit from these offerings, and it will spread out into the community. So that's something that most times people talk about, like, how does that work and so forth. So I want to know, hopefully that actually brings some information. But I wanted to know, could this correspond with a Jesus-like character? I always want to draw that parallel. But before I even do that, I actually want to bring my Hebrew brother in. He goes by the name of Yaram Yahu. Yaram Yahu, I believe. Are you there? And before you come in, let me know, what does your name mean first and foremost? And what have you got to say? Yeah, just unmute your mic, my brother. Your mic is still muted. So just unmute it and you can talk.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you, King.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, King.
Well, from Yahoo, Yahoo means always to exalt Yahoo.
Perfect. I love that. So go ahead, my brother. You've come in. Actually, first of all, tell our audience how you was able to come in. And if you got a question or commentary that you would like to make, please make it. So again, tell our audience, if you can hear me, tell our audience how you was able to actually come into this chat today, right now. And if you've got any questions or comments, please ask it or state it. Okay, I guess my brother, the cat has got his tongue. When he's ready, he'll come back in. My brother Gabs, if you've got anything to say, please say it right now. Whilst I'm going to read out some questions in a little while.
I have nothing at the moment.
What?
Nothing at the moment.
What I'm doing.
Is that a brother?
I believe so. Go ahead, brother. Jeez. Your signal is in 1984, bruv. You're on some 56K modem dial-up. Like, I could even hear it in the background. Testing, testing. Are we connecting? My brother, come on, man. Let's get in.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. So I want to know how were you able to get in onto this chat right now? And if you've got any questions or comments, please ask and state them.
Okay, Kyle, you made it.
Okay. Okay. I'm not hearing you. If you're talking, I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, when you're ready, but you know, feel free to talk over me. I've got somebody in here saying from Anchesenamun says Christ is a title. Interesting. Christ consciousness. Okay, I love that. Anthony Mohammed, I don't want to talk about that. United States of Africa. I love that. Dogmatism is the problem. Blindly believing in a religion and thinking you have a monopoly of truth. Woo, woo. Wisdom teachers right there. Are you back, my brother?
Yes.
Okay, so how did you get into this chat now?
Oh yeah, Kyle, you talking to me?
Yep, I'm talking to you.
Kyle, you talking to me?
Yes.
Well, I just pushed the link below.
Excellent. And where are you calling from?
The USA.
All right. Which state? Which state in particular?
And the what? But I agree with the guy when he say Christ is true, because we act as though Christ was not his last name if he even existed. Christ to be anointed. We say Mashiach. They say Christ, and they say that it's the same thing. So it's not a last name. Therefore, if he claimed to be of the tribe of Yasharal, the tribe of Yahuda, then he had no last name. No one had a last name. And then, of course, we know that to about 507 years ago. So that's. But the point being that it's similar to this. Look on the walls of, say, two mausoleum, what they call, then we will see Asat, Asar, and Harun, and we know this is the mother, father, and son, and this is where that comes from. I mean, it's the exact same thing. JC had John. Forrest had a nuclear purifier. It's the same thing, and they had the exact same accolades. So.
I love that. My Hebrew brother is teaching the thing right about now. But you know what, my brother, your signal is crazy bad. It's crazy bad. I don't know if if you can get to a place where it has better
I feel
signal, so we can have a much more clearer conversation with you. I'm sure our audience would love to hear what you're saying. And again, you see, my brother simply did what he did was press the button down below that said panel link, and he was, what was he did? It was transfigured. He was transmutated. He was made to manifest with inside of this live hangout chat right now. Is Jesus the Son of God from a pharaonic perspective? So let's get it in. Let's get it in. You know, we've hit we've actually hit over the hour mark already. That's amazing. That's crazy. That's crazy. We've actually hit over the hour mark. I'm not even trying to go longer than an hour and a half. We're going to try to make this a nice show where people can actually tune in and catch catch it afterwards and see what's good. Okay, Lamb of God, I think you've clearly showed a correlation. They took all the information from Egypt. Wow, Allahu Akbar, I hear somebody saying. Yes and no. I definitely agree with you. A lot of the information seemed very much parallel with Kemetic thought and Christianic thought. That is a term. I definitely do see there is some parallels. I don't want to say that it took everything from Egypt. I think it was a cultural diffusion and infusion from obviously the surrounding areas, and obviously ancient Egypt was one of those surrounding areas where the thought patterns, the writing styles, and so forth would have, manifested with inside of the gospel writings. And obviously, we know that, for example, Jesus was grown up in ancient Egypt for so many years, even returning back to Jerusalem. They say that he was wax wise in wisdom from Egypt. And when he was even versing the Sadducees and Pharisees, they were like, wow, this is astonishing. This brother has a lot of information and so forth. So we can see that the information that he was getting from Egypt was very much so powerful when he came over into his own land itself. We also know that, from the Talmud sheds a very negative light on Jesus. I'm going to tell you that from the upfront for those people who are interested in actually reading the Talmud. But they even say and say that this person learned a lot of his information from Egypt, was under a temple, found certain words in the temple, and was able to, become this figure. He learned the Egyptian sorcery and magic and so forth, where he was able to do various miracles.
This thing can be fucking garbage. That's why you can have.
Yo, mute your mic. So, from that perspective, we can see how, the Jews viewed Jesus. A lot of people view Jesus as learning this information from Egypt itself. And what's very interesting as well, they actually started to question his genealogy from the Talmud. The Jews started to question his genealogy, whether he's a Jew or not, based upon certain questions he was posing to the Pharisees. It was like, you don't say that Moses is the best and the highest and the most wisest prophet that we have and so forth, or person to ever exist, but who actually taught him? That was the question he kind of brought up, and who taught him? And because Jethro, he's Ethiopian or Midianite, father-in-law was the one to supposedly teach him certain information and to order the troops and so forth. And he was inferring that this Ethiopian/Egyptian, depending on how you want to read it, was more wiser than Moses, which was very interesting, and that's not something that the Jews themselves would say. But if we have a remnant of the these people from Ethiopia and Egypt, might have been the ones who actually taught him certain information like that, to say, look at from our cultural perspective that our teacher was the one who taught your Moses the information. So that's very interesting. We even actually find in the Quran as well, who kind of echoes that same sentiment of Moses being taught by an Ethiopian or an Egyptian or a Sudanese person certain information that he wasn't even able to fulfill and pass the test that was given to him, to be patient, to have that attribute of al-sabur, to be patient. He wasn't able to accomplish that. That person was known by the name of Al-Khidr. Al-Khidr literally means the green one. If you go and read books like Al-Jahiz, he'll tell you, you know, the terminology of khidar, meaning green, literally means to be dark or black skinned. That's what it literally means. It's a terminology meaning black skin. Well, we can even find in the Bible, we have the terminology Kedar, meaning the black tints of Kedar and so forth, also means blackness as well. So he had to go down into, you know, where the two Niles meet. This is in Sudan, I believe it's in Tuti, where he was educated by this person called Al-Khidr. You know, and you know, you can clearly see that there is a relationship there where these Sudanese / Egyptian / Ethiopian had certain highly specialized knowledge and was able to pass on to the so-called prophets and other people as well. So it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting to view it from that vantage point. So I personally wouldn't say that everything in the Bible, New Testament, you know, is coming from ancient Egypt. I would definitely say ancient Egypt and the surrounding area and the areas that had a lot of knowledge and culture did infuse and influence, you know, the writers and even Jesus Christ himself, or Yeshua HaMashiach himself. So I don't know, anybody wanted to chime in? I know we've got somebody else new who's just joined us right now, goes by the name of iYogi. iYogi, if you're here and you would like to say something, please unmute your mic and you have the freedom to talk. They've just dropped out. Come on, you lot get serious now, Abi. Okay, yo, Gabs.
Yo.
I don't know, man, talk to me.
Yeah, I was gonna ask a question based on what the brother was talking about to do with the whole Jesus being the Christ. I wanted to ask him what was the whole reason for him being a Christ, and was that a teaching that was just for Jesus, or did it predate, or was there other people at the time in ancient time that were anointed and called the Christ?
Jeez, teach the thing. So my Hebrew brother, that question is to you.
Okay, no problem. You know what, man? As far as that go, all right. That came to be was a tool. Greek general, which when they conquered Egypt now.
Okay, again, my brother, I'm apologizing because I have to cut you now. I have to cut you. I know you're talking, but we can't hear you. That's the problem. I don't know anyhow you can get your signal better. Move to a place where your signal is high, your Wi-Fi signal is high, something, because right now it's not the greatest. It's really not the greatest at all. If you are not on your phone and you're on a laptop, if you hit the top of the screen, there is like 5 different symbols on there, one to hang up, one for settings, and one to adjust bandwidth usage. If you click on there and you tune your bandwidth usage down, that means less megabytes or kilobytes is going to be sent. So you can lower it down where your visuals will be a bit fuzzy, but your audio is going to be pristine and clear, if you've got that function available to you. Whilst you're doing that, I'm actually going to answer that question from a Hebrew or Torahic or scriptural perspective. There were various different messiahs or Christ in the scriptures. It's anybody who is anointed or rubbed with a certain oil. In ancient Egypt, we had the term as well, meseh, which was to be anointed with a particular oil. It's either hippopotamus oil or crocodile oil as well. So we've had various messiahs throughout the time. In the Bible as well, we know that Cyrus was also a Christ figure within inside of the Bible itself. So it's literally anybody who's been anointed by oil to officiate certain things, such as priests and kings were usually anointed by oils and could even be considered messiahs. Obviously, we have an archetypal messiah that is referenced inside of the Bible, that both, or should I say triple, even both triple, both the Jews are expecting a messiah at the end of the world. Maimonides, great Jewish author of the medieval era, wrote a great great articles basically on what Jews are supposed to believe in, and the Messiah is definitely one of those articles that Jews definitely do believe in, coming at the end. Christians obviously believe in the Messiah, and obviously the Muslims believe in the Messiah. And outside of that, there is other mystical and even fraternal organizations, you know, even up until today, that certain people are anointed with a special oil, usually on their forehead, their head, or even on their hands, to officiate certain things. And that's something else, you know. Maybe those of us who are members of mystery systems and fraternal orders could actually shed some light on that, what it is to be a Messiah. Would you even consider yourself to be a Messiah who's reached certain degrees in their studies? So, you know, hopefully we can get people like Honsu on, and other brothers on who can actually talk that thing as well. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm glad you said that, because that's what I was gonna ask. Because obviously I could see the similarities between obviously the Kemite Christ and being anointed, Christ, and obviously Jesus being called the Anointed One, which is obviously, to me, just seems like the same thing as being anointed with the oil, the special oil. So I just wanted to know what was the origins of where they got that from. Did it stem from ancient Egyptian culture, and did people then go and obviously you going through the talk we've been doing today, where we can see these, you know what I mean, the major prophets coming into Egypt and learning and being a part of these systems. You see what I'm saying? With all the stuff that they had to go through, and now you can see where the different religions have now taken that and put that into their belief system.
Indeed.
So I'm basically saying the anointing and the whole being anointed, could it really have been an Egyptian thing from the get-go, which now Christians have now taken on and used in their paradigm?
Please, my Hebrews and my Christians, I need you for this question. Hebrews and Christians, yeah, where are we? Yeah, please, if you've got any answers to that, please post them up in the comment section, or otherwise just hit the link and join us and actually conversate with us. My Hebrew brother, if you're there, can you answer that question? Okay, I'm not seeing him. All right. You know what, my brother, I've been enjoying this thing. If we're gonna
Yeah, man, it's good.
If we're gonna do another one, okay, because you know what, a lot of people need this information. I need to actually learn more about Kemet. I definitely want to see you know what, our Muslim and Christian brothers, even Hebrew brothers, learn more about Kemet, for the simple fact I want them to challenge a lot of stuff that our Kemetic brothers are espousing. Personally, I don't agree with everything that my Kemetic brothers are espousing. I think some of them are quite false. You know, so I'm sorry if that hurts any of you lot's feelings. I do, but I don't see nobody actually challenging the Kemetic brothers with such ferocity. Maybe for the fact that is, you know, most Hebrews, Christians don't want to take the time out to actually learn other people's culture and history and records and so forth, which is sad, you know. And maybe because most Kemites are coming either from Christian or Muslim backgrounds, they have that extra ammo in their artillery to be able to challenge the preconceptions that these you know, religions and belief systems actually hold. But I want my other people, my Muslims, my Hebrews and stuff, to actually come on, man, learn this stuff. Like, you not need to be asking some serious questions. Like, so what? You lot say you don't believe in God, yeah? So what? Is this not a God here? No, it's a nature. What? So isn't that just another word of saying a deity? No, like, come on, man, ask some good questions like that. So what? You lot don't believe in heaven and hell? No, but what's this here? That looks like a hell scene. That looks like a heaven scene. You know, ask some real good questions. Like, you know, ask some questions that's gonna make them think properly. Like, you lot say that your stuff is plagiarized. You know, our stuff is plagiarized from Kemet. Yeah, but why don't you think that Kemet is plagiarized from the Hebrew culture? I'm sure there is a lot of Semitic words inside of the Kemetic language system? Does that mean that the Semites was in ancient Egypt and taught the ancient Egyptian stuff? Do you know what I mean? Is there like stuff that's just gonna be like, oh, okay, you hit me from nowhere. Like how you get that in? You know, oh, what? So you lot are Kemites, yeah? So is that just another way of saying Ham? So we know about Ham in the Bible. We know about Ham in the Bible. You lot are the Hamites. Canaan was part of you, Lord, and you looked at your father's nakedness and so forth. Like, come up with some great stuff like that can actually challenge my Kemetic brothers. I know I'm throwing some daggers there, but I do want you lot to come on board and actually be able to hold your own, because I'm seeing it a lot in terms of Speaker's Corner and elsewhere, even on the net. The Kemetic brothers are coming with some great strengths. And I love it. I love seeing it. But I actually want you brothers as well to get hip to this information. If you got any questions that you have for me or even Gabs, ask us. And we can, fill you in some information as well. If you're a Kemetic, and even if you're non-Kemetic, there shouldn't be a problem of divulging information up to a certain degree. Don't get it twisted. Up to a certain degree of information, there should be no issue with that. We should all be, helping each other to learn and further our own investigative skills. Gabs, please continue talking, because I need to just sort something out real quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, me personally, I think the reason why most Muslims, Christians, or Jews don't come and ask any questions, because I think once they do take the time to actually research and actually delve or dive, should I say, dive into researching the Kemetic history and teaching, they're gonna come up against some big questions, and they're gonna come up against some new things that they might think, hold on a second, some of this stuff kind of makes sense. Like, these people say that they were idol worshippers and stuff, but they weren't really dealing with idols. You know what I mean? Where did they get these laws from? What's this that they're talking about? Nature. Oh, they have a creator. Oh, their creator means this and that. So I think the issue is that once any Muslim, Christian, or Jew starts looking into the history of the ancient people and what they were actually dealing with, they might find themselves that, hold on, they might start questioning their own beliefs, thinking, okay, wow, well, these people was long before, you know what I mean, long before any of our prophets, long before any of our texts, and these people seem to have had knowledge on the afterlife and nature and the creator and all this stuff. So they might be thinking, you know what I mean, what is this? Did our belief systems take some stuff from here? You see what I'm saying? So it challenges them. So that's why I think they won't necessarily go into it and do the research. And plus, ancient Egyptian cultures is so vast. There's so much things to find out. There's so much information. Sometimes they might just think it's just long. You know what I mean?
For real. Ancient Egypt is very vast. I'll be real with you. I've been learning ancient Egypt for some time now, since I was a child. I remember going back, when you go back and you look at your old school, primary school drawings and stuff like that, I can see I got pictures of ancient Egyptians and the sun and all sorts. I've been quite drawn to ancient Egypt from a long time, from childhood. I think most children have always been captivated over ancient Egypt, and even possibly fantasized about ancient Egypt and its culture and its customs and so forth. So I've always been hip to this information, to be honest with you. But the more and more I do actually study this information, is the more and more I literally know I do not know. Most people ask me like, so what do you believe in? I don't choose to believe. I choose to know, to investigate. And what do you know then? And then I have to say simply then, I know very little. The things that I do hold that I did know, I realized through further investigation, that was only partially it. There's still much more to go. And I think, ancient Egypt, there is a whole rabbit hole to go under and through. I definitely think that, you have to be a brave soul to actually jump in and start learning this information, and even wanting to be a Kemetic, because there's so much to learn. It's not just like religion where you learn the foundations and you can keep going. There's just so much more to it. Somebody here asked me about Genesis 3:22. Genesis 3:22 says, "And the Lord God said, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever." Real talks. What do I think about this? I think this is a very interesting and cool story, bro. And I would say that I most probably would do the same thing if I was God. I wouldn't want anybody to have the same information and knowledge as me, to become like me, if they're not properly prepared for that information. But that's something else. Let's go into this. Titans of what little you know. What do you know? Interesting. Okay. Comedic theology is okay. Shout outs to y'all for having a non-biased channel. All the Dawa channels are BAT SHIT. Give thanks. We definitely do try to keep it unbiased as possible and get various views in. I know with the Dawa channels, they tend to swing it to say the Muslims are, dominating and so forth, and you usually get a lot of people affirming the Muslim viewpoint. There's never really anything challenging. Obviously, over here with Titans TV, we are inclusive of everybody. So, whether you're Jew, Muslim, Christian, atheist, Sikh, Hindu, whatever you are, you're welcome to the channel, and you're welcome to be featured on the channel, to be featured even as the star or the titan of the show, propagating and espousing your own personal views. There's no problem with that. So you can feel welcomed. And obviously in the comment sections, there's like a royal rumble going on, because we have so many different ideologies combating against each other. I personally like it, and I rather have that rather than the group think where everybody's like, yeah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, yeah, you killed him, bro, you killed him. Like, that's not really helping. You're not really challenging your own self, your own personal beliefs, your own personal comfort zone. Sorry for actually using Allahu Akbar in that sense, just to say it's like only Muslims. I don't want to do it like that. I don't want to do anybody like that. But I'm just simply saying, a lot of channels are self-affirming, whereas this channel, hopefully, everybody can have a say. As we're kind of showing today, we're talking about Christianity, we're talking about Kemeticism, we're talking about Hebrewism, we're talking about, Islam. Everything is just combobulated into one thing, so everybody can get their view across. So yeah, I love that, and I respect my audience members for actually being critical and actually having their own mind, and to actually smell the BS that's going on. It says here Titans. So we got 1-2 says Titans, even in your vids, Muslims always wins. Yeah, I would say there is a good portion of our videos. Speakers Corner, for those people who aren't hip to Speakers Corner, is where we do our debates. The Muslims, definitely do have great arguments as well, and I definitely think that, if you're Kemetic or Christian or whatever you are, you should actually learn the Muslim arguments and actually see if you can challenge their viewpoints, or even change your own viewpoint, because they have some very strong beliefs and strong views that does make sense. So yeah, definitely, I hear you. Wait, the Edo man, Titans. I know I have asked this before, but can you set up a debate with the Hyde Park Muslims with some of the other characters from Hyde Park? Okay. Hyde Park Muslims with other characters. I think you mean from the US. Do you mean from the US or from from here? Like, clarify that one for me, please, Edo man. But definitely, I'm actually going to do something very soon where I actually want to hear from our audience members. So if you are a person with knowledge and believe you have information to share, I definitely do want to get your contact information in, where we can set up debates with people from Speakers Corner or people from the World Wide Web itself, and I'll definitely host them and allow you to have a very organized, well-defined debate. Okay, that's going out to thousands and thousands. Obviously, we have 30,000 subscribers. We're going to have a lot of people viewing your debates as well. So I'm definitely want to get that established itself. So if you definitely are a person who wants to debate, we can set up a virtual debate or even a live debate as well. Don't matter if you're not somebody who is a Titan, who's featured on Titans TV or other YouTube channels. If you feel that you have the stuff to actually, speak confidently and actually challenge other people as well, please drop me an email. My email is at the bottom somewhere in the description box, or find me on Facebook, and I'll take your information. I'll take, what is your belief system, or where are you coming from, and so forth, and who would you like to debate, or what information you'd like to debate, and we can kind of see who would go with each other. So yeah, we've got Sheikh Hassan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Yeah, wa alaikum salam. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, hearing you loud and clear.
Yeah, wa alaikum salam to everybody on the panel. Very interesting discussion. You know, I see at least Islam is getting a play, because normally most of these Kemetic dominated websites don't give Islam a peek. And what I've noticed is that you know, is the thing now to just speak about Islam. If I were to get 100 views, I could just go up and say Muhammad is a shitter. I get 1,000 views, you know. So we know what we're up against, you know. So it's not that the brother over there said that Muslims are scared because what they will find out. It's not that. It's not that at all. The thing is, a lot of Muslims from the Arab countries, except young Egyptians, Arabs, they don't know anything about Kemet. Okay? They don't even know enough about Christianity. Okay? The Muslims who came from Afro-Caribbean background or Afro-American background, okay, most of them, some of them have gone into Kemet, but most of them have not. And the other problem is that a lot of them have bought into the that kind of centralized Wahhabi thinking in Arabia. Okay, that does not that even violate the Quranic narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of the problems. Is that people are scared. Nobody is scared of you all. You know, but sometimes we just, you know, when I hear some stupidness like Kemet. Kemet is not an ideology. Kemet is a place.
Mm-hmm.
Kemet is a place. So why would I call myself Kemetic? It's a place that has fallen, right? What about the pre-dynastic Kemet? What about that spirituality that came from inner Africa? You all don't speak about that.
Teach.
The Quran talk about fitra. That is the fitra. The natural way of life before the books.
Jeez, teach.
You know, so you all don't know what you are speaking about, you know. So you telling me that I must start with Kemet? Kemet had different schools of thought. They had the Memphis, they had the Thebes, have different schools, different creation stories. You know, it wasn't like one monolithic you know, way. You know, you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, you know, so nobody's scared of you all. You know, but sometimes it's just too much heartache and you know, myself, you know, when I talk too much, MI5 comes to my home. You know, so I'm not like you, you know, and Kalim know this,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not the normal Muslim. They come at me all the time, you know, so that's why I choose my time and I choose what I have to say. You know, so, brother, we're not scared of you all at all. Any day, anytime.
Oh, you hearing that? Okay. My comedics, you hear what I'm saying? My sheikh right there, my Sheikh Hassan, saying the Muslim world, we ain't scared of you. We ain't scared of you. Who's scared of you? Come on, man. We know this thing already, long time. We just choose our fights wisely. It's not everybody that we, you know, you take on that fight with, okay? It's not everybody that gets the opportunity to jump in the ring with a heavyweight, such as my brother, my sheikh. I'm going to say he's my personal sheikh. You know, this is somebody that has given me inspiration. That's somebody that has mentored me in terms of teaching me certain things, and sitting down and like, listen, I have to listen. When my sheikh speaks, I have to listen. You know, sometimes I hate it. I disagree with it passionately, but at the same time, I have to respect it and understand that's my elder speaking with a next form of wisdom that other people, you know, ain't got. He's coming from a generation that fought the real fight, where most of us are armchair scholars and armchair activists. This is the real deal right here. This is Sheikh Hassan. So trust me, when my brother is speaking, listen up.
Thank you, Kalam. Thank you for that.
No doubt, no doubt. You know what? So yeah, please, I'm just reading. Okay, so this is what I want to do. I would love to have more shows like this where I actually get to sit down, speak with the audience, go through some studies as well, pick up some books. We got loads of books over here. We've been picking up the Nile Valley Contribution by Anthony Browder. We've been holding up, what is this? The Cult of Ra by Stephen Quirk. Did we touch on anything else? We slightly touched on the Ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. This is the Faulkner edition, and other things. So we've touched on a few books out here. We haven't gone into great depth and detail, but if you would like to go into great depth and details on certain subjects relating to Kemet, definitely just hit me up in the comment section and let me know what you would like to hear more about. What is Kemet? What is Kemetic philosophy? What is Kemetic theology? What is Kemetic history, culture, and so forth? Any questions that you do have, please ask away. I'll definitely set up a show like this where we can study and learn more about it from all different perspectives. If you have any questions about Islam as well and you want to know more about that, definitely I'm going to set up some shows where I'm definitely going to be on there, and I'm going to even get wiser brothers than me that know it from know Islam firmly from an Islamic root point, not the alternative Islamic root point, but from the firm Islamic root point, so you can learn some more about it. Same thing to do with Hebrewism, same thing to do with Christianity, and even atheism. Whatever you would like to learn, please drop the questions and comments down below, and definitely we get brothers on to present that information, or I will just present that information. I like to feel I'm abreast with all the different fields of thought. So please, if you've got any questions, drop them down, let me know, and we can get them flowing again. Thank you. Saying good show. Praise be to Allah. Yep.
Kalam, before you go, I'd like to just clarify something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You see, one of the problem is the Muslims are problematic also. I'm not making an excuse for them. Okay, because some of them don't study. I mean, I'm appalled when I look at your speaker's corner. Some of these guys can't even graduate out of my classes. These Muslims who go out there to challenge people. Before you challenge somebody, learn what they're about. That is the Islamic discourse. You have to learn what the person is about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for example, this notion that Islam came with the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that's nonsense. If you look in the Quran, in the discourse between Moses and Pharaoh, the Pharaoh, right? Moses said, I am the messenger from the Lord of the worlds. Pharaoh said, which Lord? I am the Lord here, right? Moses said, according to the Quranic narrative, Lord of the first people. So in Islam, we recognize, right, Egyptian antiquity. Right? Because Allah says that the awwaleen. Awwaleen means first. Awwal. In Hebrew and Arabic and Amharic, in these, awwal means first. Right? So this is why I said that you want to stop on the way to Egypt, okay, forgetting that this civilization was born out of a mother, born out of a particular spirituality. You see, and that is never talked about. Okay? And then they change 1 minute, this person is a god, next minute is a principle. So why do you do libation to a principle? That don't make sense. 1 and 1 is 2. That is a mathematical principle. I don't pour water on the ground for that. You know what I'm saying? So what, but Muslims are to blame too, because they need to study. Some of these guys, they need to study Ali Dawa. My co-sheikh, what's his name? I forget his name. These guys need to study. You go out there misrepresenting Islam.
Calling them out.
Huh?
Calling them out, sir. Say you're calling them out.
I'm calling them out, yes, because if I was there, I'd just beat those guys just a whip or something, man, because they need to go back to school. You see, because Kemet, what has happened is that a lot of Muslims have buy into the Jewish look on Egypt. In the Quran, if you look at the Quran, the Quran doesn't represent that bias against Egypt. Okay, but they imbibe that from the Jews. You see, because when the Prophet turned to his cousin Amr ibn As, he said, "You will go to Egypt, and he will conquer Egypt. Be good with the people because that is your cousins. In fact, he called them the curly-haired people. Okay? Now, they say that Islam destroyed Egypt. Come on. When the Arabs reached there, they were Greeks. Right? Kemet had already lost his glory. The Persians, the Romans, the Greek, you understand what I mean? We didn't close any temples. It's the Christians who closed the temples. Right? So this narrative, you hear this nonsense, and sometimes, I study to waste my time arguing about that. Because it's not even historically true. Right? Now, I have another problem too. Brothers say, like if I identify with Ma'at, they say, but you're a Muslim. I'm talking about my Kemetic brothers, but you're a Muslim. So he's a Muslim Kemetic. And they laugh, so 1 minute you say we are not recognizing Egypt, and next minute when you recognize Egypt, is a joke. You see, so, what does he really want, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, truth is truth, right? Truth is truth.
Facts.
And it came, and truth is older than this world, okay? So Muslims, I beat them up too. Callum know this because they do not study, and a lot of them are apologists for that Wahhabite Islamic training that they get in Arabia, that doesn't cater for the studies that perhaps we have went through. He said, I come from the old school. From since 7 years old, I was shouting Black Power. I'm 53 years old. I'm 53 years old now. Some of you weren't born yet. We had an uprising in Trinidad, Black Power uprising. Went in the church and painted all these idols black. You see, so the first introduction to Kemet I had was those 2 blue books by that guy Ra. He's still alive now, but he's old now. So brothers I've been studying, brothers who came from a Pan-Africanist, so a Black Power background, they have studied. But a lot of the Asian Muslims who like to run and hold the mic as they representing Islam, they don't know nothing about Egypt. I will pause as a Kemetic and destroy them.
Yeah.
They don't, you know this, and that's a problem. So they give Islam a bad name, right? Because the guy asks if somebody's in the jungle and they don't know anything about these books. Brother, there's something called fitra. Fitra is the natural way of life, right? The books only came as a reminder. Okay, there's a natural way of life. That as Ara says, the natural mystic blowing through the air. It's a natural way of life that Africa has. And Allah recognized Africa because He always sent people there, into Egypt, into Kush, into Ethiopia. Why? You see? And that is one of the problems that the early Muslims had, because Umar, the second caliph, he refused some of the Bani Umayyads to attack Africa, to attack North Africa, because he said that the Prophet said, leave those people alone. The Prophet said, leave the people of Habashi, meaning the African continent, alone. He said, leave them alone, right? And they refused, and they strong-armed Uthman, which was the third caliph, to attack Nubia. And the Nubians put a licking on them. The Nubians used to shoot arrows
dead center into their eyeballs.
Yeah, they blind the Arab. You understand? They blinded them, right? Because they disobey. You see, but you all feel that everything the Arab do is Muslim. Allah cursed all the Arabs in the Quran. You all have read the Quran. Allah said the worst in disbelief. The worst in disbelief are the Arab. Why? because they didn't take time to learn the laws of God. But everything the Arabs do, you want to put it on Islam. Right? And these people are going contrary because in the Quran, the Prophet made a prophecy. He said, my people will make this Quran a thing of joke. So it's there, but you see, the Asian, he's in a mode, he's in love with the Arab.
That's real. That's
it's
real.
True. It's true. He's in love with the Arabs.
It's true, and this is incumbent upon us as well to actually, those people who are not part of the Muslim world, to actually learn more about the Muslim thoughts and what's actually written within inside of the Quran itself, what's written inside of their hadiths, their tafsirs, their maghazis, the sarat as well, all what they actually have in their histories and so forth. We should actually learn about it. We should appreciate another people's culture and history and heritage.
Because right now I'm doing a study on Haman in the Quran, right? The Quran mention Egyptian personalities that I found some information on it, but I have to double check it. You see, so there's a lot of information in the Quran that about Egypt. You see, even there's a lot of a hadith about Egypt. I was tracing on one just yesterday, where this man, an Arab, came up and said the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu had a piece of cloth that came from Memphis. And the guy said, may Allah curse these people and curse this cloth. Right? And the Prophet turned to him and said, I'm not those who curse. I'm not of those who curse, and those who curse is not of me. He always held Egypt in high respect. You see, because in our tradition, Egypt is part of the family it's part of the divine family. Egypt didn't come from space. According to our tradition, Egypt came out of the Noahic family from Noah. Okay? You mightn't believe that or whatever. Egypt came out of Noah, and Egypt, they knew something. Okay? They knew some things, and some of the things that have been lost, some of the meanings. Yes, brother, sorry.
So I was going to ask a question.
Sure, go.
Because you were saying your tradition. I want to know, so where is it that you're saying this Islamic tradition or culture come from? And what people, what are the people, to you, who are the original? Because if you're saying that the Arabs are the worst, I'm trying to understand, who are the people that you're saying now are the Islamic culture? Who are they? Are they not the Africans? What are they?
Well, firstly, right, we don't believe Islam came with Prophet Muhammad.
Okay.
Full stop. He and what is said clear in the Quran that this doesn't come from him. Okay? He was just a reminder. Okay? So as far as we are concerned, right, the first Muslim is who we identify as Adam. Okay? That is the ancestral way of life. Right? The way that he lived in submission to the Creator. Okay?
Okay.
So,
okay.
And as far as we're concerned, Adam was created of black mud. Okay? Africa is a continent that recently got that name. I don't know what was the name before. Okay? But Allah said he created Adam of black mud so that the progenitors of the human race came from black people. Or dark-skinned people, put it in a better way, okay? Dark-skinned people. So, this is where our traditions come from as far as we are concerned.
So basically, what you're basically saying, so Islam, you said that Islam got given to Adam, is the forefather of all the human beings, which was the black people. So the Egyptians, the Nubians, the Ethiopians, the Kenyans, the Nigerians, all these people, where can we see Islam being portrayed down the lineage? Because we can't remember, it's through the book that we know about Adam. You see what I'm saying? So where in the culture prior to Islam prior to Prophet Muhammad giving us the books, where do we see Islam being practiced? In what cultures?
I see it all the time.
What?
I see it in Orisha. I see it in for example, in the Orisha tradition, Yoruba, for example, there's no format for worshiping Oludumare.
Okay, yeah, true.
Right? There's none.
Yeah.
According to that tradition, Oludumare created the heavens and the earth, and he withdraw himself. Okay? And that to connect with Oludumare, we have to connect to the Orishintala, the Oris. Okay, like Shango, Oshun, Lemuja, all these different elements. You understand what I'm saying? So within that tradition, you see that there is a concept of a creator, one God who worship. Okay? And so I see it in that. I see it in the Twa people in their concept. I see it in so many different things. But what happened in our narrative is that at different point in time, people went astray. Okay? I do not support worshiping ancestors at all. I respect my ancestors. I do not worship my ancestors. Suppose my ancestor was Uncle Tom. Will I be pouring libation for an Uncle Tom? Suppose my ancestors helped put me on the ship. You see, so when we say worship ancestors, what do we mean?
Yeah, I think that's the question you got to ask the people.
Hold on.
Gabs. I've been digging it, and I've been trying to find out. I've been searching, and perhaps you can help me.
All right, this is what we're gonna do. All right, we're gonna have to make some new shows because right now we have to close down this show because we're hitting we're hitting the 2 hour mark right now. Hopefully, I was trying to get to the 1.5 hour mark, but we're literally hitting the 2 hour mark. I don't really want to extend past that. But what we're gonna do.
I hope I've helped you, brother, understand my little portion. Okay, next time, inshallah, we'll talk. Okay,
inshallah. But stay on the line because we can still carry on this conversation where anybody from the audience could actually come in and actually, come in off via the offline link. You can come in right now if you want to, but offline, and then we can carry on this conversation. But I actually want to close down the show, and I also want to say as well, if you've got any more questions and anything like that, and you want to propose a particular show to come up, definitely hit me up and let me know what you would like. Comment section, hit me up. Also, please give us some likes. Give us some likes as well. Please hit me up with the likes and let everybody know that you're loving the information as well. So where are we? So yeah, because I want to close down. I definitely want to close down. I'm not gonna ask those questions now. No more questions right now. Leave them there so we can ask them for a new show. I'm gonna actually do a new show, maybe even tomorrow. We're gonna do some ad hoc shows. We're definitely gonna mix it up and get more of our audience members in, and let them rise up into the ranks where we can now view them as titans, which they definitely are. So I'm going to thank everybody that's tuned in right now. I'm signing off now. So thanking Gabs, thanking Yarama Yahoo, and also thanking my brother Sheikh Hassan for the great work that we've put in today. And definitely stay on the line. I'm going to continue this. So also, please hit the subscribe button down below. And also check out all the other videos that we should have literally about up here somewhere. Should have one there and about one here as well. Somewhere around there should be some videos, the subscribe link as well, to see some great shows like this. So we're signing out. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Peace and love.